It is an exciting night in Philadelphia. It's the final regular season game in Citizens Bank Park. Phillies Cubs, game 3 of the 3-game series. Final game in Citizens Bank Park for 2024, at least in the regular season, because Red October is going to happen. So an exciting night. Going to be a lot of giveaways at the game. I know they always do a lot of the auctions and they have giveaways where they say, all right, if you're in section 123, row 8, seat 13, you just want to autograph Bryson Stott bat. It's stuff like that. I went to a fan appreciation night a couple of years ago. So it's a great thing to show for the fans support for the entire season. So hopefully there's more of that. And hopefully if you're watching this and going to the game, hope you get to win something. But Phillies did not win last night. It was a 10-4 blowout. Was not a close game. It was a little bit at the beginning, but then just Taijuan Walker came in, did Taijuan Walker things, and hopefully that's the last we see of him in a Phillies uniform, at least for this year. But tonight, different story. Javier Assad for the Cubs going up against Chris Sanchez. Sanchez having a career year. He's going to be making his final start, I would assume, of the 2024 regular season. Where is he going to pitch in the playoffs? Is he going to be the number 2, or is he going to be somewhere number 3 or number 4? Is he even going to pitch in the divisional series? I would think that it would be foolish if he didn't, because obviously you're going to try to get Wheeler 2 games if you make it that far, because God forbid you go the full 5 games. But if you do, Wheeler's going game 1 without a doubt, and then he's going game 4. And then Nola and maybe Sanchez games 2 and 3. If they don't view Ranger Suarez as being back to normal, maybe they'll just use him out of the bullpen. That's what I see happening. I don't see any scenario where Aaron Nola doesn't pitch game 2, just with the money they're paying him and how consistent he's been the Phillies, one of the top 2 guys. I just don't see any reason that Aaron Nola wouldn't be that number 2 starter, but I do think Christopher Sanchez has a real case to be that game 3 starter. Got some exciting news on Heat Ratio Sports today. The Cotillo and Groovy show starting this Tuesday, I believe, coming up. I lose track of the days of the month, but yes, starting this Tuesday, October 1st, Frank and Tony are going to be live every Monday. They are live every Monday at Pike's Pub, but this is an even better night because they got Tuesdays live from Big Head's Richboro Pub, 20 weeks. They're going to each of the different locations of the pub, a different one every week. So make sure you are staying tuned for that. Got some exciting stuff coming, and there's more to come. I'm officially announcing the Fresh Slate YouTube channel. This is where I go pre-recorded, do a little bit of something different. So it's kind of like a school setup where you go, it's a math class, and then you have the stats of the week, and then you go to history and you look at historical moments that have happened in the past on that day and others. It's going to be like a weekly roundup video. Maybe in the future it'll start to become an everyday thing, but to start out, I'm just going to do it once a week, hopefully every Wednesday. So Monday, the Pike's Pub stream. Tuesday, you got the Cotillo and Groovy show, and then Wednesday, you got the Fresh Slate. So exciting things here at Heat Ratio Sports. So make sure you are subscribing because this is just the beginning. We got so much more to come. Phillies, the lineup tonight. Cody Clemens is at third base. No Alec Boehm tonight. He gets the night off. And it seems like Austin Hayes is officially back to being the full-time left fielder because you saw him start yesterday, and Johan Rojas was in center, but tonight Brandon Marsh is back in center field, and Austin Hayes once again he's in left field, but this go around he's batting 9th, batted 6th yesterday, 1 for 4, a solid first game back. So I mean, not really much changes to the lineup besides Cody Clemens. Cubs haven't released their lineup yet, which is kind of weird considering it's an hour before first pitch. I don't believe they did. Let me go to X. It's not updating on the ESPN app. So let's see. Chicago Cubs. It's kind of weird that they didn't release the lineup yet. They're calling up Kevin Alcantara. That's pretty big news. Maybe they're waiting to release the lineup for that. No official lineup except for the news that Kevin Alcantara, one of their top prospects, is being called up to the majors for tonight's game. So, I mean, yeah, I can't really talk about the Cubs because there is no lineup yet for them. So, very curious. I know Seiya Suzuki was dealing with some kind of injury, so maybe, and same with Michael Busch. So maybe they're trying to see who's available and who's not. So I don't know. Very odd that the Cubs have not released their lineup literally with an hour to go. Unless this is a sign the game is getting rained out, which is going to be a key to the game. The weather, I don't think it's going to be an issue. It was raining a little bit earlier. I was working up by Philly and it was raining a little bit, but that was earlier this morning. And I don't see any rain supposed to be hitting Philly in the weather app for tonight, maybe in the next couple days. But there is a hurricane brewing. That is going to be an issue for the Braves in the Mets game. It's being reported that it's looking like they might get rained out tonight and tomorrow. So huge implications there. We'll talk about it when we get to their game. We're going to be talking about the rest of the National League playoffs, but you have to consistently attack Javier Assad. He's a decent pitcher. He's got a 3.34 ERA this year, but in his recent starts, he's given up 3, 4, 1, 3, 3. And that was to the Nationals, the Rockies, the Nationals again, and the Miami Marlins. So as of late, he has not been doing too hot. He's a 4.32 ERA in September so far. But he goes maybe six innings is usually the limit, 5 to 6. But gives up a lot of hits, and he does like to give up multiple runs, especially recently. So the Phillies need to consistently attack him. You got to hit him early because he does have a good history against the team. 1-0, 8 innings pitched, no runs, 0 ERA, 5 strikeouts. Much like Justin Steele, he's gone up against the Phillies once in every year. So 2022 and 2023, 5 innings in 2022, 5 hits, no runs. And then last year was it June? 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs. So he has shut down the Phillies in his career. So Phillies need to consistently attack him. He's not been too hot recently, and the Phillies need this win, especially because the Dodgers lost last night, which we will get into. But first, let's get into the HRS Triple play because I'm feeling really, really good about what we have tonight. So let's see what we cooked up tonight. Tried streaming on Twitter tonight, but apparently you need a premium account. So what the hell, Elon? What are you doing? Let us stream on Twitter. It's okay though, because this is gonna be a deal breaker. If you cash this now, maybe I'll bet this, and then we'll have enough money to bet, or I'll have enough money to get a premium Twitter account. So maybe we'll be able to stream starting tomorrow. But nonetheless, Christopher Sanchez over 5.5 strikeouts at plus 110. The Cubs love to strike out against lefties. This is the last start of Christopher Sanchez's season, at least for the regular season. He's got a 2.05 ERA at home. He struck out 7 in 3 of his last 4 games. So I do really like these numbers, especially if it is going to rain a little bit. The ball might be a little slippery, but I don't think the Cubs are going to be making much contact. So I do like Christopher Sanchez plus money too. So maybe Vegas sees something we don't. I just really like it. Bryce Harper to get 2+ total bases at minus 105. He does fairly well against Javier Assad. I mean, not a huge sample size, but he's 3 for 4 against him. I see that continuing tonight. I think it's going to be a high scoring game for the Phillies. And then Bryson Stott to get an RBI at plus 155. I don't know. I have a feeling about all 4 of these guys, Sanchez, Harper, and Stott, and then Nick Castellanos, who I think is going to hit an early home run in his first 2 at-bats at plus 550. I really, really feel good about these bets. So again, that's Christopher Sanchez over 5.5 strikeouts at plus 110. Bryce Harper to get 2+ total bases at minus 105. And then Bryson Stott to get an RBI at plus 155 with the bonus bet being a Casty Bomb plus 550. One of Tony's man crushes. If you've been watching all of our streams on here, you know Tony is a man crush on JT and Nick Castellanos. So we'll see if Tony can get one from Casty tonight. Remember, go to Win Daily. Use that promo code HEAT. You could get 50% off. You could get 12 months for the price of 6. You never know. So make sure you are checking that out. Playoff tracker. Now, Dodgers lost last night to the San Diego Padres. A huge, huge loss because the Phillies dropped the game to the Cubs, so they don't lose a game on the Dodgers. So they're only half of a game behind them right now. And it's going to be an interesting matchup tonight because on the mound for the Dodgers, it's Jack Flaherty, their trade deadline acquisition, going up against Dylan Cease, the Padres' big acquisition of the offseason. They did trade Juan Soto, but they got Dylan Cease from the White Sox. He's 14-11, a 3.42 ERA so far this season, but he has been very good recently, hasn't given up any runs in his last 2 starts. His last game against Houston, 8 1/3, no runs, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. And that was against an Astros team that just won their division. So a huge game tonight. Let's go Padres. But hopefully the Dodgers win one of these next 2 because I don't know if the Phillies have the tiebreaker over the Padres. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they do have it over the Dodgers. Let's see. Padres record versus Phillies 2024. I don't think the Phillies have the tiebreaker. That's an absolute lie. Phillies were 5-1 against them this year. So I guess it really doesn't matter. So I guess we're rooting for the Padres because less games for the Dodgers to win, more games for the Phillies to catch up on, especially with the Nationals coming up. So as of right now, Dodgers are the 1 seed, up on the Phillies by a half of a game. Brewers, they are on, I think, the final game. I think I was supposed to update this, but I just didn't. Yeah, it's game 3. Zach Gallen on the mound. A weird season for him, a 3.74 ERA. That's just not like Zach Gallen. He's one of the better pitchers in the major leagues. So only 3 games back from that 1 seed. They did win yesterday, I believe. Did they win? No. Diamondbacks have lost 3 in a row. What the heck am I talking about the Diamondbacks for? Talking about the Brewers. I don't know what. I guess I saw the Brewers, but yeah, the Diamondbacks starting to fall back with the Braves creeping up. That's really not what you want to do. So Diamondbacks could be out of it with the way this Braves and Mets series goes, but we might not even know till Monday. But yeah, the Brewers playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers tonight. They did win yesterday against Pittsburgh. I don't know why. I was talking about the Diamondbacks, but they're only 3 games back from that number 1 seed. They won the last 2 games. Phillies have dropped last night, so I don't know. Phillies just need to get the job done. Stop worrying about playing in that wild card round. That would be an unfortunate situation. But the New York Mets, they lost last night to the Braves. So the Braves are starting to creep up. They're only a half a game back from the Diamondbacks. They're only 1 game back from the Mets. So I don't know. I called this before. I said last week that the Braves were either going to sweep them or they would win the series and they would take over that wild card spot. Chris Sale is on the mound for the Braves tonight. And if he has a bad appearance tonight, I could see Zach Wheeler, maybe his odds get boosted because he goes up against a weak Nationals lineup. And this is in all likelihood, it's probably Chris Sale's last start of the season. So maybe Zach Wheeler's Cy Young odds get boosted after this game, but could not play tonight because of the weather. There's a hurricane going on. It's starting to come up to Florida, to that Georgia area. So it was reported that it's looking like that game might get rained out. And then they would have to play a doubleheader on Monday. And the playoffs start Tuesday. So whoever wins would get probably a least favorable matchup because whoever has, I don't know, because it's all what has to do with the Diamondbacks too. Because you might have to fly out to San Diego or you're either going to have to fly out to Milwaukee. So crazy stuff there. The Padres did help us out. Phillies are only a half a game back right now. Do have the tiebreaker over the Brewers. They have the tiebreaker over the Padres and the Dodgers. So Phillies have a clear path to getting that number 1 seed, but it does concern me because after this Padres series, the Dodgers play the Rockies and the Phillies do play the Nationals. So maybe a little bit lenient there, but Phillies absolutely need to win tonight because I don't see the Dodgers losing that series to the Rockies. So if you can keep it close, I think that's very, very important. And then in the American League news, Astros last night officially clinched the American League West. They're seventh and eighth, their last 8 season, fourth in a row technically, but the only time they lost it was 2020, which I don't count the 2020 season. It's different with the NBA bubble. They played a majority of that season. They played their normal amount of games or just under. Baseball, it was less than half, so I don't count it. I don't count that Dodgers ring. I think you look at it from two ways. Yes, it was a shortened season, but yes, it was still a season. I just don't think it should be looked upon as better or the same as the very next season when the Braves won it. It's just the lowest pedestal, I think. That's just my opinion, though. But Astros clinched it last night. They're probably they officially clinched the number 3 seed, so they will play whoever that 6th seed is in the American League. And it's still very close. There's a bunch of teams still not eliminated. Tampa's in all likelihood going to be eliminated tonight. Boston's 3.5 back. They're probably not going to make it, but Twins are starting to fall back. They've slumped. Royals and the Tigers are currently tied for that second wild card spot. So looking like it's going to be Orioles versus someone in the AL Central, and then Tigers or Twins. It's going to be AL Central versus Orioles and the AL Central versus Astros. That's what it's shaping out to be. And then National League, it's still too early to tell. I would assume it's Brewers versus whoever that 6th seed is, whether that's the Braves, the Mets, or the Diamondbacks. So it's crazy. I love it. I love not being able to know what the playoff matchups are, and there's 4 games left. I love this. It makes baseball all that more interesting. Orioles also clinched the playoff berth. They are playing the Yankees this series. This is game 2. They're 5 games back. It's very unlikely that they win the division. Yankees are probably going to be number 1 seed. They're a game and a half up on the Guardians, but again, it's baseball. Anything can happen. There's still 4 games left, so we shall see. So, not just Philly moments of the night. Talk about the playoff teams. Now it's time to talk about non-playoff teams. And the White Sox, 3 runs in the 8th inning last night. They hold off breaking the record for the most losses in a regular season for one more night. They do play again tonight. I think I put money on the White Sox tonight, which is nobody in human history has successfully said that. Dean Martin on the mound, 0-5 with a 4.27 ERA, going up against Jose Suarez for the Angels, a 6.08 ERA. So it should be interesting. Keep your eye on that. It is the final series at the Oakland Coliseum. Athletics, and I believe the Giants they're playing? They hit a walk-off last night. Rangers. So another team not really in it. He's got the walk-off last night, so tomorrow's game will be the last one ever played at the Oakland Coliseum. The final time you will see an Oakland team play at home for the foreseeable future, because is Oakland ever going to get a professional team again? I don't really think so. I think Oakland ran its course. You lost the Raiders, you lost the Warriors, and now you're going to lose the Athletics. I just don't see how a team can move all the way to Oakland after losing 3 professional teams. Like, that's got to be saying something. But the owner, cheap. I feel like the city could have done a better job. When you lose 3 professional teams, that's saying something. But the Athletics owner is a complete joke. He should be forced to sell that team. He doesn't even speak directly to the fans. He just releases a statement. Are you kidding me? You're taking a team away from these fans that have been here for their whole lives, and you're just going to release a statement saying, "Oh, we tried." Okay, pal. But Bill Belichick to the Jaguars? I don't know. It was reported by Albert Breer today that Belichick could be a coaching option for the Jags in 2025. But, they're 0-3. Shad Khan said in the preseason that this was the greatest Jags team ever assembled. So you think that, and your team starts off 0-3, and Trevor Lawrence has lost his last, 7 or 8 starts? I don't know. I think Doug Peterson's getting fired. I said it on the football predictions video a couple weeks ago before the season. I said Doug Peterson, if the Jags start off slow, he's gone. And Bill Belichick, apparently, allegedly, Tony Khan, Shad Khan's son, owner of the Jaguars, founder of AEW, Apparently, he has a good relationship with Bill Belichick. And Trent Baalke, I don't know how he still has a job. He's an awful general manager. He ruined the 49ers for years. And the Jags somehow thought, oh, you know what? Let's bring this guy in. Signed Christian Kirk to that large contract at first. That wasn't looked at like a good one. But, I mean, it's really worked out. But drafting Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, giving Trevor Lawrence all that guaranteed money, drafting Travis Etienne in the first round when you had James Robinson. So questionable moves, but Bill Belichick could be taken over. And I would assume he would be the general manager too. I don't know. Obviously, I can't speculate. I don't know what he wants. I don't know if he wants to be a coach. I don't know if he wants to be both. I don't know. These are all options. But you have two guys in Jacksonville that are on the hot seat, and you have a guy in Bill Belichick that could fill both of those roles. So I definitely do think this could be a real possibility if he doesn't end up with the Eagles or with the Cowboys. Yeah, with how bad they have looked, because they haven't looked like, oh, it's okay, it's been tight games. They've looked awful. They don't look motivated. Their defensive coordinator thought it was a good idea to run man coverage on Josh Allen on Monday Night Football. How'd that turn out? Josh Allen was just named AFC Player of the Week. That's how it turned out. But, I mean, they just don't look that good. And is Trevor Lawrence a bust? I don't think I'm ready to say that, because he doesn't have good weapons around him. I just don't think that offensive line is awful. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is doing them any justice, but that offensive line is awful. Your number one receiver, I love Christian Kirk, but he's not a number one wide receiver. Brian Thomas is bringing Gabe Davis. You lose Calvin Ridley, who you traded the second-round pick for, and you bring in Gabe Davis. I don't really think that's all that, but that offensive line is awful. It's been awful for his entire time. But again, I think it's Press Taylor. I really do. He screwed up Carson Wentz, and he's screwing up Trevor Lawrence. So I think with the right offensive coordinator, Trevor Lawrence will be just fine. But for right now, yeah, he is labeled as a bust. I mean, for what his expectations were, he was the most hyped up college quarterback since Andrew Luck. He's up there with Andrew Luck and John Elway. That's how hyped up he was coming out of Clemson. But I just don't think he's had a good offensive coordinator his entire time. He had to deal with Urban Meyer's first year, and then since his second year, he's had to deal with Press Taylor, who is an awful play caller. That Jags offense could be so much better, but it's Press Taylor. I really dislike him as an offensive coordinator. I think there's so many better options you can do. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence is necessarily a bust, but he's definitely failing to live up to expectations that he was supposed to. And we got David. He was watching the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix. I did get to check out the first episode and a half. Very interesting. The first episode talks about more of the business side, about leading up to how he bought the company from his father and how he expanded it to a national scale and how WrestleMania 1 played out. I think it's a very interesting documentary so far, and apparently it only gets worse. Talks about the Montreal screw job, the Chris Benoit incident, and to wrap it all up, I believe it talks about all the allegations against him. So very, very good documentary so far. I will be finishing that within the next week or two. So yeah, that's going to do it here tonight. Remember, October 1st, this Tuesday, the Cotillo and Groovy Show. You got Monday, Pike's Pub. You got Tuesday, Cotillo and Groovy Show. Phenomenal. So happy for Tony and Frank. They do a great job at Pike's, and they're going to do even better here. So phenomenal job. I applaud you guys. You both work your asses off. Very proud. Carry this brand well. This is the flagship show of Heat Ratio Sports, and you're not going to want to miss it because these two are hilarious. They are awesome to listen to. They got knowledge. They got everything. So make sure you're checking that out. And make sure the Fresh Slate, it's on YouTube now at the Fresh Slate, finishing some behind the scenes things up quickly. And then going to film the video hopefully Tuesday, and then I'll be releasing it on Wednesday. Don't know what time, but that will be a thing on October 2nd. So yeah, post game live 10 minutes after the final out. We'll be tracking all the other games, see if the Mets and the Braves do end up playing. So have a good night, everyone. Appreciate you all tuning in. Stay safe, enjoy the game, and as always, stay fresh, my friends.